Okay, we're on. Ailene Tisser and Cindy Freedman, welcome to the podcast. How are you doing?
Great. How are you?
Now, together you are Swim Angelfish. That's awesome. So, Ailene, tell me about how you two kind of got together on creating Swim Angelfish.
Well, it's kind of a great story. We've actually been together for 22 years. And when we first started, I'm trained as a physical therapist, and Cindy's trained as an occupational therapist and a recreational therapist. And we started out doing aquatic physical therapy and occupational therapy. And so many of the families that we would work with would do amazing in our program, and we would try to send them out into the community and say, now it's time to take swim lessons and learn to swim. And they kept coming back to us saying nobody really felt comfortable or had the tools they need to teach their child how to swim. So we started doing some work in that and training and going out to some of the conferences and the swim school associations and trying to educate swim instructors in some of the tools that we use in the pool to get children safe and independent in the water. And what turned out to be a huge passion and labor of love actually turned out to be something that was hugely life-saving, because the more research we started doing, the more we realized that drowning is the leading cause of death for children and individuals with autism. And there was a huge lack in education in order to prepare swim instructors and what to do with this population. So in 2010, we came together, we made a training DVD back in the DVD days, and we did some live classes and started to get the word out about what could be done to help these individuals. And that was not enough. You know, as we all know, like seeing something once or watching a DVD isn't the way to learn it. And we opened up our own swim school called the Swim Whisperer Swim School and came up with a methodology where we address the underlying problem in why individuals with any kind of issue are having trouble learning to swim, whether it be autism, whether it be a physical issue, whether it be a sensory issue, whether it just be anxiety and fear. And we address it with certain movement strategies that are based on our therapy knowledge, and we help them overcome the problem and learn to swim. So we then developed an online certification program, hence 22 years later, realizing the impact that we could make all around the world. We started offering this training to other countries, in states across the United States. We just started growing. We have about 400 swim whisperers across the world, and you see the map behind both of us, and we're putting little pins wherever we certify somebody in the Swim Angelfish methodology, and we're starting to change so many lives. It's so much bigger than what we're doing in our little communities, and it's making a big impact.
Wow, it's fantastic, incredible story. Nate and I are partners in this. And Cindy, when did you and Ailene kind of first meet? I've got my story of when Nate and I first met. When did you guys first meet?
Yeah, that's actually a funny story too. So I moved from the Midwest. I'm a Midwesterner, Minnesota, and you bet you don't, you know, for all you Midwesterners. And I moved to the East Coast, and it was a little bit shocking. And I did an in-service at a place where Ailene was employed to help educate on the aquatic occupational therapy I was doing. And in that moment of meeting her an hour late, she took my materials anyway and ended up coming to the pool and referring me so many kids that I looked at her and said, if you love this so much, why don't you start doing it? And that was like the opening of us attending some conferences, teaching aquatic therapy courses around the world. And in 2010, as Ailene said, we really dove into spending time on why learn to swim programs were having such a difficult time. And what we recognized was that the swim instructors just didn't have the tools that they needed. So the Adaptive Swim Whisperer Toolbox allows you to teach the way that you teach. So you might teach at a private swim school or a YMCA, or it doesn't matter the method that you teach swimming, because we're not going to teach you how to teach swimming. We teach you how to add strategies and techniques to the way that you teach so that you can overcome really meaningful roadblocks like successful submerging. If you can't successfully submerge, then most likely you're not going to be a successful save, because the minute you go under and come up, you're not going to blink and try to take something. You're going to come up and panic like crazy.
I love that. I love that you talked about strategies and techniques, because I got to tell you, I've got my own personal story. I was trying to make some money as a young swimmer myself, just out of high school. My first job, I went to my swim coach and I was like, listen, I just need to make some extra cash. Can you get me a job? And he's like, yeah, I've got this slot a couple of times a week teaching adults how to swim, from 7 to 8 o'clock at night. I'll pay you, a couple of bucks. Great. I was like, oh, this is going to be the easiest thing on earth, and I just jumped in, and all of a sudden I realized it was the toughest thing I could ever possibly do, because I had no strategies and techniques. I just thought I was teaching people how to swim. And yet the people that were coming to me were people that had trauma, the people that had anxiety. These adults were actually people who had an experience as younger kids, a really negative experience, almost like a drowning experience. And then later in life had said, I want to overcome that fear and I want to try and learn to swim. And oh my gosh, it was the most difficult thing I could possibly do. But I didn't have a program like yours that could kind of give me those strategies and techniques. So I love that there's something out there now. And are those strategies and techniques for adults like that as well?
Yeah, I love that you said that story, because we actually have a YouTube channel, Swim Angelfish YouTube, and there's a Swim Whisper Works for Adults.
Right.
And a woman came to me and she said, I have tried to swim at 3 different places. I just was never exposed to swimming, but nobody seems to be able to teach me to swim. And in 3 lessons, she was swimming. And the strategies and techniques of the Swim Whisper method included, how do I control my body and breath, inability to go on your back, successful submergings, but also intertwined with as the instructor, what action do I take, and when do I make the decision to impose a certain kind of movement, and how I could work with her, the strategies and techniques from the program. That's the Swim Whisper difference, I think, from other adaptive programs, is it definitely works for people with trauma. It works for somebody just with discomfort that's been in a regular program for a long time, and the instructors were kind of stuck, like the traditional methods didn't work.
Right.
And Ailene and I, being an OTPT team, I think that it's created with some science behind it. And we get so excited when we get phone calls from our swim whisperers that they've taught swimming 10 years, 20 years, sometimes 30 years, and they've taken a lot of training, and they'll send something like, the Swim Whisperers was a game changer for me. And a woman in Vermont, she taught a boy who had trauma. They had been 3 other places, and it only took her 3 times in the pool. So exactly to what you're saying, there is like a better way to teach a little faster with less discomfort by overcoming roadblocks is our methodology behind the Swim Whisper online training.
I love it. Good stuff.
If you think about it, Brett, like for an adult first learning to swim, they are in this state of trauma and fight or flight, or else they would have known how to swim as a child. And a lot of the children that we see that are always in this state of fight or flight are having trouble even getting their head wrapped around the idea of like calming down and trusting someone in order to learn how to swim. And by washing that away, and the science behind what Cindy was saying, using neurochemistry and making the body feel calm and open and ready to learn, you can do miraculous things. And you don't get better by practicing what you can't do. Sometimes you have to first address what's blocking it.
Yep. No, absolutely. I agree. Well, listen, I got a couple of charts here. I want to pull them up. Ailene, maybe you can talk to me about the first one I pull up here. This one here.
Yeah, what I love about this chart is if you look at the words in the different colors, it kind of talks about the areas that our program works. Trauma is number 1. Trauma. We have autism, anxiety, sensory issues, motor issues, discomfort, physical issues, or just a general delay. These are all things that we see across the spectrum with all the different children that we're working with, whether they're children, young adults, or adults. And what we're doing is we're giving you the tools to strengthen your current curriculum by helping you assess and identify the problem, overcome it with our strategies, and then go back to teaching your swim skill benchmarks.
Right. I love that. Cindy, there is kind of a business side to this, obviously. So in terms of how people connect to your business, and then do people get certified through what you're doing and then use that certification to then say, I'm certified to teach? Oh, you got your sound off.
Yeah, it looks like Cindy's on mute. There she
There we
goes.
There's different ways that people start their journey with Swim Angelfish, and a lot of times it seems that they'll go to some of our free information. So our goal is drowning prevention and helping parents and families, especially when they have children that learn differently or adults that learn differently, become safer. So we have 5 absolutely free online videos, and people go right to our homepage. You could click on a free online training button, and coaches can get tips right away. Parents can get tips right away. Lifeguards, it's our give back to the aquatic community and helping them see that there's more education. And when people find that they need a program and they have such a need, whether it's a Learn to Swim school, a YMCA, or a Jewish community center, it doesn't matter. If you're teaching swimming and you're coming across kids with mild sensory issues, Becoming a Swim Whisperer is an online certification with 11 areas of focus and 14 most commonly seen roadblocks called Swim Whispers. You take the 20 modules, you take an exam, and in the end, then you are a level 1 certified Swim Whisperer. Join our private Facebook group, and you can continue on with the levels. In fact, Ailene and I, 22 years later, we're both been working and training a lot, and we continually see strategies and techniques that provides us a feedback loop to continue adding content to the program. We have kids that excessively drink water, and it's a big problem for kids that seek sensory input. And when you're seeking sensory input, would you think of a strategy of chewing on some ice chips so that you have your mouth closed, or having a mouth guard in your mouth so that you're biting, so when you bite you can't drink? So the beautiful thing about our program is that we're able to have like a feedback loop from our private Swim Whisperer certification page, and also from our 15 locations we have here, New Hampshire, Mass, Connecticut, and New York, so that we're only seeing private, semi-private, and small group kids mostly, and some adults that have had challenges with the water. So, 30 hours, however many hours we have, we're doing it day in and day out, and we're constantly getting aha moments of things to add to our curriculum.
Right. I love it.
Did we answer your question about the actual certification?
Yeah. So talk to me about the certification in terms of the modules themselves. You said there was 20 up front in level 1. So how long does it take to get through the 20? And then how many levels are there?
So there's level 5 is considered mastery. So there's 4 levels of content, and each level builds on the next. So level 1 is the actual methodology, and we're not a certification body. So we're not certifying you to teach swimming, but we're certifying you in the Swim Angelfish methodology of overcoming the roadblocks and obstacles that you're encountering in swimmers that learn differently. Okay. So in level 1, you're learning the methodology. There is a 100-page manual. There's a lot of content explaining the science behind what's happening and helping you get the skills you need to assess and identify the problem. By the time you get into level 2, you're putting together more difficult strategies so that you're addressing multiple roadblocks at the same time. And then with each level, you're able to handle more and more complex cases and more group type situations, and bringing more inclusivity and diversity into the facility that you're working with. Right.
Sounds like a black belt in karate. I've got to get through the different levels and finally I'm the master. I love it. That's awesome. I'm going to pull up another chart. One of you can talk to me about this one. Let's see if I get this right. Okay. This one here.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about that, Cindy, or do you like me to?
You could go right ahead.
Yeah. So this just breaks down what you're getting in level 1. In level 1, you're getting 20 modules, case studies, printable materials, and a workbook. And that takes about 15 to 20 hours to complete at your own pace. It's self-directed. We ask people to complete it within 60 days and then practice the techniques. When you move on to level 2, you have individual case studies. I believe there's 20 case studies in level 2, actually showing you live lessons and putting together the strategies and the techniques. And then level 3, again, builds on the more complex case studies as well. So each
Nice.
level is more and more content. And what's so amazing, I don't know if now's the right time to bring it up, but we have organizations, one in particular called Only Alpha Pool Products. They have the Down Syndrome Advocacy Program. They believe so passionately as we do that every community should have someone in it that understands their child with special needs, that they're funding 50% of the training for anyone in level 1 anywhere around the world.
Wow.
And they want you to grow with it. So they're committing to funding 75% once you do the further level 2, 3, 4, and 5. It's an amazing opportunity.
That's a really good opportunity. How can people get a hold of that?
Yeah, they're actually listed on that first flyer that you pulled up.
Okay, let me pull that back up again.
Swim Angelfish, and then it says at Only Alpha Pool Products. On our website, under the certification tab, when you scroll down, there's an application. And the application is no requirements of finances, anything like that. The application is simply for us to see if they're interested and motivated to work with people that learn differently. And Only Alpha Pool has been absolutely unbelievable in funding this and continuing to fund this. We have over 147 in the past 7 months that they have funded 50% and will fund 75% of the other levels.
Wow, that's fantastic.
Brett, if you want a good story, if you have a minute, again, the person that funds this,
all the time in the world.
She's the mom of a little boy with Down syndrome.
Wow.
And her father owns this Only Alpha Pool company, and she wants to make a difference in the lives of other families like hers. So started out by her just researching us, believing in us from what she read, and then investing in us. And then we had a conversation with her months later, and she told us that her son almost drowned the weekend before. And we said, what? You're helping us with all of this programming, and your son isn't even safe in water? 2 weeks later, Cindy and I got on a plane and committed a whole weekend to intensely working with her son. And for everyone watching this podcast, you're getting a little glimpse of our energy. Imagine it like together on a mission with one little boy. I think that we rocked his world in an intense way. Cindy saw him, I saw him, Cindy saw him, I saw him, Cindy saw him, I saw him. He was like, he could hardly walk by the time we finished with him. But after that weekend, he was safely swimming in a life jacket, safely grabbing the side, knowing how to control his body around water in one weekend.
That's awesome. I love it. I love that story. I actually texted Nate today and I was like, talk to me about Ailene and Cindy. And he just texted back and said, they're doing God's work. That's what he said. So like, you guys are literally just doing incredible stuff. Cindy, you wanted to add something?
Well, I wanted to say, if there's, parents and coaches watching this, that the value of the life jacket, we put the life jacket on, but have you put it on anybody that has specific challenges and they get in the water? That's what happened. He jumped in after his sister and had the life jacket, but because of his low tone and the way his body is, he was just face first. So she had to jump in and get him. So the value of anybody who hasn't revisited the life jacket, learn to swim in a while, be sure that you include that, especially if there's a swimmer that has sensory issues or challenges, so that we can help everyone be safer.
Yeah, absolutely. Ailene, tell me about these 15 centers. Give me a little bit more information about them.
Are you talking about the 15 locations that we have?
Yeah, what does that mean? Yeah.
So Cindy and I both started out in Connecticut working together all of the time. It was just the two of us. And we are both moms. We each have 3 kids. And as we started teaching more and meeting more individuals that shared in our passion, we started growing. It wasn't like we started out saying we want 15 locations.
Right.
It was like we started out saying we love what we do. Let's do it as much as we can. And the snowball effect created what now is Swim Angelfish. Cindy then moved to New Hampshire. I'm in Connecticut. And we just started opening more and more places based on staff that joined our team, based on pools that wanted to give us space, based on families that were populated in certain areas saying, we wish you were closer to us. So now in Connecticut, we are in Fairfield, Connecticut. We are in Wilton, Connecticut, Stamford, Connecticut, Greenwich, Connecticut, Portchester, New York. Cindy's in multiple locations throughout Massachusetts and a location in New Hampshire. This is our flagship. This is our kind of home base,
Right.
where our team works out of. This is what we do as well every day, as well as run the business. So it's when Cindy talks about the continuous feedback loop, we are always learning. We never stop. And as we learn, we put it back into the certification and we add more videos. We are constantly posting, right hot off the press, videos of techniques that we're developing and learning and growing with. So,
I mean, if anybody is interested in like, what does a Swim Whisperer lesson look like? And if you're thinking, I already do some special needs swimming, I'm pretty good at it. If you go to Swim Angelfish YouTube and you watch Jane, who's a little girl with Down syndrome, or Noah, who's a young boy with autism, or a developmentally delayed adult, there's about 12 different Swim Whisper stories. And they give you just such a great sneak peek into what a lesson consists of, what it looks like. And I would say the Swim Whisper difference, right? Like, Brett, we know we're not the only people in town, obviously, that do adaptive swim or sensory swim. But as we're collaborating with other professionals, it really isn't like a competition. It's really like the need is so great that if you start with a basic course from Starfish, or you do All Ability Swimming United States Swim School, or you take the courses that are out there, those are great first steps to get started. And if you really are loving it and you're seeing that you're changing lives, the next step to become a Swim Whisperer will blow your mind, because most of the time, I just did 150 comments that were on Teachable yesterday from all of our users of the Swim Whisper program. And one after the other, I was doing some of these things, but I never knew the reason behind why they worked. Or that is something that I tried a couple times and it didn't work. But then when I did it with this person, it worked. So it really helps people to get a frame of reference to be able to have more successful lessons with a systematic approach. Would you agree, Ailene, with that? That's kind of how it helps?
We're always trying to partner with our communities and more communities, empowering them to know that there's actual techniques and tools. Nothing hurts us more than when we get a child from another swim school that's local to us, that's been going for 2 years and never got off the steps, or still won't put their face in the water. And what hurts me is that's not acceptable, because they can do more. They're capable of doing more. And with our program, we see that they do more. We've had kids come from other programs, and in one lesson, they're overcoming something they couldn't overcome in years. So I just encourage anybody listening to this to embrace more education and want to learn more, because when you stop learning, it really all ends. We're always learning, and we love what we do. Combining the love with the knowledge, we're unstoppable, and we want more people to know that.
Listen, you can tell you're passionate about this for sure. If there's no doubt about that. So, I hope people utilize this program. Now, in terms of the pools, what type of pools are you guys setting up in? How's the setup?
Yeah, because we don't have our own like brick and mortar space, we do things like a YMCA in Wilton, Connecticut actually has had us there, I don't know, almost 20 years. They love that we come there. They love that we rent a lane or two on Sundays. They love that Swim Angelfish is here offering private, semi-private, small group swim team. And so we have places that love having us there, even though they teach swimming, even though they have some adaptive swim. We have hotels. We're at a hotel here that has us there Monday and Wednesday. A swim school franchise is there on Tuesday and Thursday, but they rent their pool. So we're able to run Swim Angelfish Boston out of this hotel 2 full days a week. And then other, retirement home, I think, has a swimming pool in New York. Is that right, Ailene? That
a Catholic school. We're at a Catholic school, and we're at a community center.
Excellent. Okay, I love it. Ailene, tell me about this this map. A little bit more detail in the background. What's that mean?
Well, what's happened with this partnership of Only Alpha Pool products, and with now the funding being so much easier and finances not being an issue, we're really trying to reach swim instructors around the world and let them know our training is easy to access online. And every time we certify somebody somewhere, we're putting a little pink pin in our map. And my goal this year in 2022 is to fill this map, at least with one pin everywhere.
Have you got some pink pins in Australia?
Yes, we do. Absolutely.
Beautiful.
We have a lot of pink pins in Delaware.
You do?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, I didn't know there was many pools in Delaware. I knew there was one. That's about it. But I need to find these pools.
I just give a good example of what the need is. We both in where we are in our locations in these 4 states, we both are very heavily waitlisted at all of our locations. And in where I am, the North Shore YMCA, they all have a certified swim whisperer, which is not far from our locations, and we're all still waitlisted. The Hawke YMCA has 12 certified swim whisperers. The Jewish Community Center, Greater Boston, has 3 swim whisperers. We're all in such close proximity, and we're still not able to meet the need. 1 in 6 children have some kind of sensory processing issue. And when we're seeing people sometimes that are swim instructors, I think one of the roadblocks is they think, oh, I'm not seeing maybe those kids, or that's only for, really involved children. No, the swim whisperers will improve your typical swim lesson and help you with kids with ADHD and LD. It also will improve your strategies and techniques for anybody who just has anxiety and discomfort. And we're all seeing those kids, and we can do better. And when Ailene was saying, the kids that come to us after a year or 2 years at a Learn to Swim program, oh, they don't go on their back, they don't go underwater, and they don't control their body. And one of our free strategies is come in your pajamas, right? Come in your pajamas. That little bit of weight will help counteract the buoyancy. I've had kids come in your pajamas. They've been at other swim school. In one visit, I'm letting go of them and they're kicking their feet and their parents are mind blown. That isn't even mind blowing. It's a free tip. And they just couldn't figure out where their body was because of the roadblock of the buoyancy. So we really strive, Brett, to offer free resources and then to help people open their mind to becoming a swim whisperer, because it's going to help you teach better almost for everybody. And a shout out to Emmaus Aquatics, because Coach Marty is a level 2 Ask a Coach. She called me, Brett, 4 years ago, and she literally is on the phone saying, I have no idea what you could possibly teach me. I consider myself a master swim instructor. And I said, if you don't learn anything, I'll give you your money back. And we ended up, she texts me all the time. And Emmaus Aquatics is the first swim program in the world to require all swim instructors in their Learn to Swim program to be swim whisperers. I think she has like 30. And in April, they're requiring all their swim coaches that do swim team to become swim whisperers as well. They were super excited about our article in the, I think it's called the American Swimming Magazine.
Yep.
I'm not sure that, Yep. So,
well, listen, you guys absolutely nailed the name, Swim Angelfish. You guys are angels. There's no doubt about that. You're doing great work. Congratulations. I'm super proud to kind of present this to everybody, and thank you for being supporters of the podcast. We appreciate that. But listen, I hope this helps in any way. I hope you get a flood of people come to you and wanting to connect. So the best way to do it, tell me the website again, Ailene.
SwimAngelfish.com.
And
you can email us through the website. You can fill out the application for the certification. You can watch the free resources. The homepage of the website has it all.
Beautiful. Excellent. Well, listen, I appreciate your time today. Thank you. And good luck. Have a great year. Okay.
Thank you so much. And maybe we should reconnect in a year so I can show you our full map.
Yeah, I want it full. There's some white left on there.
We just got them. So I have I didn't do it yet.
Come on, pin it up. You got to pin Australia up. Get that up. Again, congratulations. All right. Have a good year. Thanks.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye. I'd like to introduce our newest sponsor, Swim Angelfish. Swim Angelfish is an online certification program that strengthens your teaching curriculum to serve swimmers of all abilities. Swim Angelfish will prepare you and your instructors with the skills to teach swimmers with autism, physical disabilities, anxiety, sensory and motor conditions, and more. Learn to teach skills faster and with more comfort with Swim Angelfish. Apply for an Only Alpha Pool Product Scholarship and receive up to 50% off your certification. Go to swimangelfish.com today to apply.